Hello guys, and welcome to our brand new camera comparison between the iPhone 13 Pro and the iPhone 7. Of course, I know that the 13 Pro has a better camera, but in this video I just wanted to test how much the 13 Pro camera is improved compared to the iPhone 7. On the 13 Pro we are shooting at 4K at 30 frames per second, while the iPhone 7 on the front camera can only support videos up to 1080p at 30 frames per second. Before we start reviewing samples between these two phones, I'll let you know that I will do a series of comparisons between new and old flagships from many years before, so if there is a particular comparison you wanna see, just let me know in the comment section below. When using their main cameras, it is right away obvious that the iPhone 13 Pro is better compared to the iPhone 7. It is a lot more vibrant, and overall, everything on the scene is brighter and more visible. The dynamic range on the iPhone 7 is nowhere near compared to the iPhone 13 Pro. As you can see, the sky is almost entirely blown out on the 7, while it is perfectly preserved on the 13 Pro. Once again, the iPhone 13 Pro manages to take a more vibrant picture, while the iPhone 7 is a lot more muted. I was however surprised that this 7 managed to keep it up when it comes to the dynamic range. Overall, the main camera of the iPhone 13 Pro is one of the best when it comes to pictures, and it is very reliable since it never disappoints. On the other hand, even though the iPhone 7 did a fine job in some cases, it just can't keep up with the newer 13 Pro. While the iPhone 7 has only a single camera, the iPhone 13 Pro has also an ultra-wide camera. With this camera you can capture a lot more in the frame, so if you are looking for a new iPhone, this camera will be a big bonus. The ultra-wide camera found on the iPhone 13 Pro is one of the best found on any smartphone. It captures detailed images with amazing colors, and just like the main camera, it is very reliable too. This camera has the same colors as the main camera, so switching between them to capture the perfect image shouldn't bother you, since it has a great quality too. Compared to the iPhone 7, the ultra-wide camera on the 13 Pro is brighter, more detailed, and also the dynamic range is better. This just shows how much technology has progressed in recent years. The iPhone 13 Pro, however, has also a third camera on the back, a telephoto lens that has a 3x optical zoom compared to its main camera. While I couldn't zoom out with the iPhone 7, I can zoom in here digitally at 3x and compare the results side by side. Just as expected, the iPhone 13 Pro is much better. It is overall sharper and has better dynamic range. The iPhone 7 isn't actually terrible, and it can take usable pictures, but at the end it is just digital zoom. In darker scenes, however, the difference becomes even bigger since the iPhone 7 isn't able to differentiate many layers found on the image. The iPhone 13 Pro, on the other hand, is much better and sharper. The ultra-wide camera of the 13 Pro can also take macro shots, while the minimum focus distance on the iPhone 7 camera isn't that good. I had the 13 Pro extremely close to the flower, and it still managed to take an amazing picture, while I was holding the iPhone 7 a little further away and it didn't even focus right. Once again, the iPhone 13 Pro is very detailed, while the iPhone 7, just like before, is very soft. The colors, however, do not differ that much. So what about portrait shots? Well, the iPhone 7 doesn't even take portraits at all. The 13 Pro portraits, however, are just amazing. Her face is very detailed, and her hair stripes are visible while maintaining the original colors. On the other hand, the iPhone 7 does a good job with the face, but all her hair is too dark and not detailed at all. In this other case, the iPhone 13 Pro is doing an incredible job just like before, and while the iPhone 7 isn't bad on the subject, it is crippled by the lack of portrait. When it comes to their front cameras, however, the difference is just enormous. My face is very sharp on the iPhone 13 Pro, and all the details of my hair and my beard are perfectly preserved. The iPhone 7, on the other hand, is nowhere near as good. In this other case, just like before, the iPhone 13 Pro is doing an amazing job with our faces, and even the dynamic range is perfect. The iPhone 7, however, is just terrible, and I am not sure if it always had such a bad front camera, or my unit is just faulty. I did check if it had any dust inside, but the camera is clean, so I'm really confused with the results. When recording videos with their primary cameras, surprisingly the iPhone 7 is holding very well. Sure, the iPhone 13 Pro has a better color calibration and the dynamic range is just amazing, but the stabilization found on the iPhone 7 is almost just as good. Apple has always been the best when it came to videos, and the iPhone 7, even though almost 6 years old, it is still very good. When recording with the ultra-wide camera on the iPhone 13 Pro, you can capture a lot more in the frame. It is very convenient when there are beautiful landscapes. Even when zooming at 3x, I was really surprised how well the iPhone 7 is holding, considering it is using digital zoom. Sure, the sky is almost entirely blown out for a couple of seconds, but the quality of the video overall isn't that bad. Moving to low light, and from now on every picture taken with the iPhone 13 Pro is taken with night mode enabled. I know this makes the difference between them even bigger, but I wanted to see the best results from both. The 13 Pro, just like in daylight, always manages to keep my face sharp and my skin color accurate. The iPhone 7, however, is very noisy, and to be honest, pictures taken with its front camera in low light are almost unusable. Switching to the rear cameras, and once again the difference is very pronounced. Maybe not as big as the front cameras, but still the iPhone 13 Pro is better in every way. The 13 Pro is doing a much better job on handling light sources, while every light is blown out on the iPhone 7. When there were almost no light sources, however, the difference between these two phones was very big. Here the theater chairs are very sharp on the iPhone 13 Pro, while everything was darker and very noisy on the iPhone 7. Once again, the iPhone 7 is struggling a lot from lights, and even though the 13 Pro isn't really doing that good here, it is still much better compared to the older iPhone. When using the ultra-wide camera on the iPhone 13 Pro, you can see the quality doesn't go down. In fact, it is even better now compared to how it was with its main camera. The ultra-wide camera of the 13 Pro really shines in low light, and it is one of the best I have ever used. Compared to the 7, they continue to be very different. For me, a phone having an ultra-wide camera in 2022 is just a must, and I can't use a phone that doesn't have an ultra-wide camera or that has a weak one. This is why the iPhone 13 Pro is one of my daily drivers. When zooming in, just as expected, the iPhone 13 Pro is very detailed since it uses optical zoom, and the iPhone 7 is very blurry since it uses digital zoom and it doesn't even support night mode. Overall, the results I got with these phones were very different, but I mean almost no one believed that the iPhone 7 can keep up. I am really happy with the improvements we got in recent years, especially when it comes to low light. Night mode really makes old flagships look terrible. So guys, what do you think? If you did enjoy this video, and if you are interested on seeing how new phones compare to the old ones, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.